Hello, I am CS Jasmine. Welcome to my channel. I make educational videos for commerce students. In today's video, I will teach you the principles of scientific management given by Frederick Taylor, and these are commonly known as Taylor's principles of management. Before starting the video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for any update. Do like, share and comment also. Now in this video of Taylor's principles of management, who is Taylor or who is Frederick Taylor? He's popularly known as the father of scientific management, right? And his goal was to find the one best way of doing each task. How to do a task, how to do any work that is to be done by just one best way. That is how he gave the principles of management, and he felt that his principles could be used to determine a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. What is to be paid to the worker for a work that is fair? The wages should also be fair, and the work done by the worker should also be fair. And he insisted to use incentives to motivate workers. Earlier there were no incentives, right? So he insisted that incentives should be given to the workers to motivate them to do more and more work, to do overtime. Coming up to the four principles of Taylor, Frederick Taylor created four principles of scientific management, and he was the person who supported the concept of management as a science. I've already made a video on management as a science or art or profession. If you have not seen it yet, please go back, refer the playlist, and you'll see that I've made this video. And the scientific management movement was hailed as a second industrial revolution. It is a big thing to see the concept of management as a science and to analyze it in that way and make the management work and think and study in that way. Now I'll tell you what were the four principles of Taylor. Now, the first principle is first develop a science for each element of work. Whatever work is going on or is carried, for that, develop a kind of science. Then study it, then analyze it, then determine the one best way to do the work, because according to him, for any kind of work, the organization should make just one best way to do the work. And how will you do it? You'll have to develop a science for that work. For every element of work, develop a science. Then the developed science should be studied. Then it should be analyzed. Then you'll make one best way to do the work. Now talking about the first principle, like Taylor proposed to give rest breaks to factory workers doing physical labor. As to that time, workers were expected to work without stopping, and Taylor proved that frequent rest breaks greatly increased daily output. Now, if they are made to work like continuously, it is so difficult. Appropriate rest breaks give the person time to get his energy back and get charged again. So it's very important that breaks were important at that time, but Taylor proposed to do so, and nowadays what happens, workers take rest breaks for granted. At that point, they were thought must for increasing the output of the organization, but this change was brought up by Taylor to study and analyze the work and develop one best way to do the work. The second principle is scientifically select, train, teach and develop workers to help them reach their full potential. Now, while selecting the workers, the organization or the management should take a look that they should know how to do the work. And then when they enter your organization, train them properly, teach them how to do the work, and develop workers to help them reach their full potential. That is why we can take the work out of them if they know how to work, or if they get fully trained or properly trained in the organization. And before Taylor, what was happening? Supervisors often hired on the basis of favoritism and nepotism. They were just hiring the people they know, their near and dear ones, their know-hows. So that was not something very good for the organization. That is why Taylor suggested to hire this way. At that point of time, who you knew was more important than what you could do. That means the people you knew were hired, the workers who were the know-hows of management were hired, but the workers who knew how to do the work or who had the talent to take out the work were actually not hired, because obviously due to favoritism, due to nepotism. And Taylor insisted to hire first class workers on the basis of their aptitude. The workers who were hired, they should know how to do the work. They should be hired on the basis of their aptitude, on the basis of their level of work, on the basis of their talent, their skills. The hiring should be of first class workers, but they should be properly trained. Then you train the workers when they enter your organization how to do the work and develop their workers. Now, earlier hiring was also on the basis of favoritism and nepotism, but Taylor insisted to hire workers who were trained and know their jobs. Because due to favoritism and nepotism, the people who were hired, they were knowns of the people, but it was not the thing like, it was not like they knew how to do the work. So ultimately the organization or the business would suffer, right? So Taylor insisted that the people who were hired should be trained and they should know how to do the job. Then when they enter the business, they should be trained properly, they should be developed properly, so that they could be proved as the important asset of the organization. Taylor's third principle says cooperate with the employees to ensure implementation of the scientific principles. Employees are the people from whom you're gonna do the work done. So the cooperation with the employees is very important if you really want that implementation of scientific principles should be there. Now, what does that mean? How to cooperate with the employees to ensure the implementation? Taylor said that the majority of these men believe that the fundamental interests of employees and employers are necessarily antagonistic. Antagonistic means opposite. At that point of time, men felt that the interests of employees and employers are necessarily opposite from each other. And scientific management has its very foundation on the firm conviction that the true interests of the two, that is employers and employees, are one and the same. Now, the prosperity of the employer, it cannot exist for many years if it is not accompanied by the prosperity of employees, and vice versa. If you're working in the same organization, you will want the organization to grow. So it is not like that the interests of employees are different and employers are different. If that goes, the organization will not survive for a long time. So the prosperity of the employer also, it cannot exist for many years if it is not accompanied by the prosperity of employees. And it is possible to give high wages to the workers with low labor costs to the employees. So for long run, if you want your organization to grow, the interests of employers and employees should go hand in hand. Then only the organization will flourish. So in this way, you have to cooperate with the employees also, so that they give you the best work out of so that they give you the best work for your organization, and in return you have to give them high wages. Now, the fourth principle says divide the work and the responsibility equally between management and workers. The organization is worked up by the workers but is managed by the management. They both are very important pillars of the organization. So, according to that, the work and the responsibility also should be equally divided between these two pillars. Then only the organization can stand and flourish. You cannot lie everything on the management or on the workers. They both go hand in hand. Then also, it is very important to divide the responsibilities also, the accountabilities also, the work also equally between management and workers. In the fourth principle, Taylor says that almost every act of the workman, it should be preceded by one or more preparatory acts of the management, which enables him to do his work better and quicker than he otherwise could. So whatever the workman is doing, that is directly related to the preparatory acts of the management also, then only he can do the work better and quicker. You cannot just put everything on the workers to do the work. Then how would the organization work? When the management is just letting go everything, then also the organization cannot work. To work the organization in a good way, to flourish it in a good way, management plays a very important role. So that is why they should also contribute, they should also take up the responsibility and the work. Because prior to Taylor, workers alone were responsible for productivity and performance, and this could not happen. Workers are there to do the work, to manage, to complete the work, to accomplish the objectives. But management plays a very important role, a big role in achieving the productivity and seeing the performance of the workers, which reflects the performance of the organization, the productivity of the organization. The management has to do everything. So these above were the four principles given by Frederick Taylor, which are also known as principles of scientific management. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it with your friends, comment, and in case of any query, please comment below.